And we'll just, play by ear. We'll see what happens. Okay, we're live. Let me just quickly check my group. Um, okay, we're in. I can see. Excellent. Well, look, let's start, and whoever joins in, that's fine. And Chelsea, you probably will have to take over just in case it collapses on me. Okay.
No worries.
Ladies, whoever is watching, welcome to our Tuesday night live. I'm Jana. We've got Chelsea, our nutritionist. We've got Danny V. So great to see everyone. I'll start the live. I'm actually in Vanuatu now and on unexpected break. So super exciting here. Burnt, I think, a little bit.
Yeah,
But
you look quite brown.
yeah, it's beautiful weather here, but you can't avoid the sun. Like no matter where you go, it's everywhere. So, but ladies, couple of things. I think the session will be quite lengthy. So the parts that I was going to chat to you about, the VIP club and the new brand that all the SBN Angels been working on in the last year, we'll probably move to maybe next week when I'm back, so I can actually devote the proper time and show. Because I was going to bring the product, but it's too dark and the Wi-Fi is not really good. So but I really want to know if you currently watching us, please say hi. I really want to see who's watching. And also, if you guys on the chat, feedback with us, share some thoughts, and what you've been experiencing. And if you're new to SBN and watching currently, just introduce yourselves. You don't need to be shy. What else been happening today, Chelsea? Please. Oh, Jessica. Oh my God, I can see people's names now, which is amazing
Yes,
because
I
normally it would.
can. The first
Yeah,
one still says Facebook user, but I can see Jess Phillips and Karen.
Karen Nicole. Yes. Well, I know Jessica. Jessica is from Canada, so you would be going in a cold season. And ladies, I'll be probably muting myself at some point because I'm literally sitting at the reception here. So, Chelsea, maybe like over to you. Let us know what's happening in a group and maybe introduce Danny, and I'll be popping in and out. So, let me just mute
Yeah, for
myself.
sure. So, for everyone on our challenge, everyone seems to be doing really, really well. We're enjoying all of your posts that are coming through on our private Facebook group. So make sure you keep those up. Seeing lots of awesome food. So keep posting the food because, I mean, it's great for you guys to share and to kind of have that creative outlet. But I think it inspires a lot of other people to recreate meals or to try something different. And then I think, especially when it comes to food, keeping it exciting or keeping something to look forward to really helps with kind of continuing on with the detox and helping people achieve their goals. So I think it really has a big trickle on effect, sharing your meals. So we're up to phase 2, day 25 today. So we're getting there. We've got a couple of weeks left of phase 2, and then you'll all be moving into phase 3 maintenance. The other thing that I wanted to quickly mention is that we do have our ultimate bundles back. And for those who aren't sure exactly what it is, it's a bundle that we've created more for people who don't necessarily have big weight loss goals. They want to do a really deep cleanse and rebuild their system kind of from all holistic aspects. So focuses on hormones, on gut health, on lymphatic system, and on like really deeply cleansing out toxins and inflammatory products and microbes and other things that may be living inside of you. So that's back in, and we have a really great instruction guide that comes with it too. It's a little bit more fun than some of our other guides. So yeah, I think it's a program or a bundle that people will really enjoy. And I think it's a really great thing to keep in mind for once you've finished your detox. Maybe you'll get a couple months down the track and decide that, you've been tracking pretty well since finishing maintenance, but you feel like you really need to reset. This is perfect. And it is something that we do recommend doing. At this stage, we're saying about every, a couple of times a year, but it is one of those things, the research on how often we should be doing a cleanse that's involved in this sort of way is kind of constantly developing. So from the research that we've been reading, the guidance at the moment is every 3 to 4 months, for people who are reasonably healthy but still aren't fully optimal. But the research is even saying for people who have fairly optimal health, who always generally eat clean and exercise and take care of their mental health, that a cleanse like this is really beneficial even twice a year. So yeah, that's a really great one to keep in mind as well.
A couple of things to add, sorry, about the bundle. So one thing that I'm looking forward to going back to Australia and actually going back on fiber cleanse and the bundle. We have been speaking to Haley, who introduced us to the bundle. Is it too noisy, Chelsea? From where? No, it's good. Okay. And one of the recommendation was, especially after you travel, so especially when you go to other countries, when you come back, get onto the ultimate cleanse, because the food you eat, the music, they just increase the volume. Oh my god! So the food we eat, the sanitary is quite different to Australia. So this is something, if you are traveling and looking into cleansing, not necessarily losing the weight or going through a deeper cleanse like a fat burning body slimming detox, definitely go onto it. Another thing we need to highlight, the bundle that you look at, there's actually, it's not just the ultimate fiber. We've included the protein powder, we have included the mena goodness, we have included the inner goodness. So it's quite a unique user experience. It's something that I have not seen before and I have not used before, but we've created this book. It's literally a ebook that it's like a Kindle, isn't it, Chels? It's like when
it's pretty cool.
Oh, I think my connection is there. It's like you'll get the download, but it's like a book, so it's very user friendly. Please read the guide that we have created. It will help you to go through from step by step through all the products, and you'll know exactly what you need to do. And on top of that, it's a massive saving. I think it's about $80 that you save on the product. So again, protein powder, mena goodness, inner goodness, and the ultimate fiber. I think that's what we've included.
And I think it has anti-inflammatory tea in there as well.
Yes, yeah. I was going to say yes. Well, anything else you want to add before we get Danny to start chatting to us, Charles?
I think that was all I wanted to cover. And just throughout this chat, I'll be moderating all of your comments. So please feel free to jump in if anyone has any questions or comments, or if anyone even just wants to agree with something Danny's saying, or you've had a similar experience, please feel free to comment it, and I'll either be answering as we go or I'll jump in.
Yeah, amazing. Well, Dani, I think for me, it's more a personal connection with you, Dani, than a professional. So we've connected a year ago, and then we caught up this year, and we've kind of been supporting each other on socials. So Dani is performance coach, a nutritionist, a mindset coach, and all in one. Where maybe jump in, Dani, and just share what you've been doing. And she's also a co-author, so we actually wrote a book together not long ago about how to stop the busyness in our lives and how to find our happy. So maybe I'll share the link later. I actually haven't thought about it to share in a group, but I will. And this book is actually full of amazing tips from various business women and mums and women who pretty much discovered the happy medium and managed to balance their lives. I don't know if such thing exists as balance. I haven't found one, but I'm trying every day my hardest to find some kind of balance in life. So Dani, over to you, and we'll be talking about emotional eating. I think all of us have at some point in our lives went through emotional eating, and a lot of times we don't even recognize that this is the emotional eating pattern that we're going through. So Danny will be able to guide us through and actually give some tips on how to conquer that. I call it monster. And ladies, if you have been experiencing emotional eating in your life, just put yes. So we know that whoever is watching, we're actually conversing and speaking the truth to you. So over to you, Danny.
Awesome. Thank you, Jana. Thank you, Chelsea. So I'm pretty much everything that the beautiful Jana just said. And I do work with women about overcoming like emotional trauma and eating. And I really like to empower women to speak up in their authentic voice, really have that confidence in their bodies. So I do that through coaching. So I do mindset coaching. I also do nutrition and also movement. So I run a fitness company as well as running my mindset coaching company as well. So today what we're going to be talking about is emotional eating or emotional drinking, because a lot of people, you know, will drink lots and lots of alcohol instead of like eating all the chocolate and chips. So we'll be speaking about that. I do want to present my screen. I'm going to try, Chelsea. Hopefully I'll be able to do it the way that you showed me. And so because we are going to be looking at what's actually going on in your mind, and this is what I find really exciting, is that when we can start understanding why our mind is actually processing and making these things happen in our lives, it makes it easier to step away from it. Okay. Let's go. I'm going to... Hang on a second. Here we go. All right. Can everybody see that?
I think it should be there now.
Is it working now? Yep. I think it's up. Perfect. Awesome. Okay. So first of all, what we're going to be talking about is embodied pleasure. So we're all looking for that embodied pleasure. And this is exactly what happens when we are lacking it. So when we're lacking that embodied pleasure, so that really deep self-confidence, that deep self-acceptance and deep just belief in ourselves, when we're not having that, we're lacking something in our lives. So first of all, what I'd like to ask everybody on the call today is when you feel like you're emotional eating or emotional drinking, where do you feel like you're lacking in life? So it could be you don't have enough knowledge, you're lacking knowledge. You might be lacking confidence. You might be lacking in balance in your life. You might be lacking in love. And it doesn't necessarily mean that external love, that's self-love and that's self-acceptance. So does anybody want to comment? Or I really love an interactive masterclass because it really helps with the things that I talk about. When you're talking to me as we speak together, it really helps me help you at the time. So did anybody want to share like where they might be feeling like they're lacking in life?
I can start. I think I'm lacking big time in life with my family time. I put a lot of all my free time goes into what I love doing, and what I love doing is running SBN. We've been working on Delicious Dreams for a year and a half. Um, and when I do recognize that my family time is lacking, I feel so guilty. And it's a vicious circle. So then I overcompensate with doing something, like I'll take a whole day off and I'll try to be a good mom and a good wife, and I'll cook up a meal, which I love doing it. But then the work and my passion will take me away again on a road of, okay, let's be creative and let's continue. So that's where I'm lacking of managing the time, and maybe not even that, but also stopping when I need to. When I know I need to, I'm still not stopping, and I'm still kind of keep pushing and keep working because I love it so much and it comes easy to me. So that's my problem. We've got someone said self-confidence and the way you look.
Yeah.
I think
That's a
very
big one
common.
for women. So time, like what you're speaking about, Jana, and self-confidence is a huge one for women, and especially mums and mums that work, not even mums that work, like mums, that time thing, because like when should I make time for myself? Because I want to give to my family and I feel guilty, and then the guilty thing just keeps spiraling through. And I really love how you spoke about sort of that spiral, because that's exactly what we're going to be speaking about today, is what's happening, what you're looking for on the outside, and what's happening on the inside, and how we can really shift that.
I have a comment as well, Danny.
Yeah.
You probably can see it as well. So I thought it was boredom of an evening because it's time of a day I can pause. Then I find myself in a pantry. I tell myself this is my self-care moment. So maybe that's more lacking in knowing how to pause.
Yeah, or shifting what you do to pause. I don't know who said it because it says Facebook user, but yes, shifting to what you feel like it is, like that is when you pause. So when you pause, you search in the pantry. So you might be grabbing the chips or grabbing the chocolate or whatever you're want to have at that time, or maybe you're just grabbing whatever is in the pantry, right? But shifting at that point is something that really helps you move away from the emotional eating. So you know that that's your trigger because you're sitting down to, in the evening. So you feel like that's boredom. So then your brain's going, okay, I'm sitting down, I'm bored, I'm going to go to the pantry. So to be able to shift that, and that's exactly what we're going to be speaking about today, shift at that point. So I'd love you to really hold that thought in your mind about when is it when this starts coming up? When is this lack coming up, and how can we shift that? Awesome. I love this quote by Carolyn Elliott. I am willing to fully feel everything. I'm allowed to take pleasure in every part of my existence. So this is a really big thing for women, how we're speaking about guilt. And so being able to willingly feel this guilt and allow it pass through you, so it's no longer a thing that you're trying to avoid and push down. So when you're pushing something down, and you keep pushing it down, and then you keep pushing it down, see how it just keeps getting higher, and eventually it's going to explode up, and then that guilt gets too much, you're lacking, so then you go to the emotional side of eating or drinking. So learning how to really embody every part of you is a really great step towards understanding where that lack is coming from. Does that make sense? Yeah, awesome. Yeah, really good. And so, guys, if you have questions, just put them in, because I do talk a lot about a mindset stuff. So it will be, something that, okay. So now this is the comfort eating cycle. So Jana, this is kind of what you were talking about. You're feeling this lack of embodiment and pleasure and vitality. So you can disconnected to your purpose. So for the lady that was online, like you're disconnected to your purpose because you're feeling bored. What am I going to do? I've finished work for the day. I'm lacking because I don't really have anything to do now. So what am I going to do? I'm disconnected. And so then you're choosing pleasure. Okay, you're choosing pleasure because of this internal pain. So, the processed food. So everything there that we do. And that's why I really like talking about procrastination, sleeping in when you know you should get up, skipping exercise instead of going and doing your exercise. So this is all type of stuff that is choosing pleasure. So it can be not just comfort eating. And then we feel the pain. We feel the pain because we have that adrenal fatigue, you have that low energy. This is a big reason why a lot of us are here doing the cleanse, because we want that energy again, because we've been choosing the pleasure. And then, you have that excess fat, you're unfit, your illnesses come up, a lot of illnesses, which Chelsea, I'm sure you could speak about through your work. It's like so many illnesses come through having that lack and and choosing pleasure and having that lack, that pain inside of you. And then so when we choose pleasure, we bring back into, like, when we're bringing ourselves back into this equilibrium, because that's our sole purpose in life, is to find pleasure in our purpose. So this is what's starting to happen. We're starting to just choose pleasure, and it makes sense, right? It makes sense to your mind. I just want to choose pleasure. Then we think about, what about discipline? Like, you actually, do need to bring in a little bit of discipline to create the vitality in life and step away from the emotional eating. So I'm just going to try and speak about this here now to explain it to you. So when you're feeling pain internally, you choose pleasure externally. Okay, so that's what we just spoke about. When you're feeling pleasure internally, we do require to choose some challenge or pain externally to achieve that. So what I mean by that is, choosing pain or a challenge is shift your nutrition. Fuel your body for what your body really appreciates and loves. Bring in that clean eating. Take away all that processed crap. Really fuel your body that gives you that vitality. Also, fuel your mind. So start thinking about those positive thoughts. So if you have lack of body confidence or self-confidence, What's something that you could actually love about yourself when you look in the mirror? Is there your eyes you might like? It might be just your hair. It might be your eyebrows. Thinking about something that's easy for you to start liking about yourself, and then choosing that challenge to look in the mirror every day and really appreciate that part of you. Also could be starting to do some exercise. So that choosing that pain or challenge to feel that internal pleasure, to step away from the emotional eating and drinking, is maybe just go for a walk. If you haven't been exercising, why don't you go for a walk? Or maybe you could go do some yoga. Maybe you could play with the kids a little bit more, something like that. So if you'd like to share in the chat now, what is something that, you feel that you could choose right now to start feeling more pleasure internally?
Yeah, ladies, do share. It would be so exciting for us to see as well. Again, for me, I'll have to actually think about it. So what is it that I would choose? Find. I think exercise. I think devoting the time. I hate it. Every time I go, it's like, oh my God, I've got a billion excuses. But as soon as I get in there, as soon as I start moving, I feel like $1 million. Like I feel so appreciative, and I always have such respect internally for myself to go and do that. So yeah, ladies, do share, and
I
we
do
will
love
read your
that.
comments later.
Yeah. So finding that internal respect, Jana, like it's just that brings so much internal pleasure, and it goes back to what I was speaking about. Finding that self-respect, self-acceptance, and self-love is the absolute bottom line of having this pleasure inside of you. So once you have that, it's you're bringing yourself to that equilibrium of pleasure and purpose. So yeah, I love that. And for me, for the choosing the challenge on the outside is slowing down. It's probably why Jana and I have connected so very well, is because we love what we do. I'm so passionate about what I do, and it's easy for me to do it all the time. But also it's really, really important for me to stop, because otherwise I'll burn out and I won't be able to provide what I want to provide to my clients. So finding that time to stop is my challenge, to find that internal pleasure. It's my biggest challenge, and I'm working on it every day, and I am slowly getting better at it times. So definitely. And when I don't stop, then you don't have the energy, then you want to eat more carbs because and then that starts that cycle for me. So yeah, definitely. So guys, if anything comes up, you can always share with me later as well. I'm really happy to support you if you're watching this later. So now, more pleasure equals more discipline. So it's something that we probably don't want to hear, but it's actually something that is really important to step into place to create that equilibrium, to step away from the emotional eating and step away from the emotional drinking, or even those negative thoughts. Like there can be like a cycle of negative thoughts about yourself as well, and then when you have those negative thoughts, you don't want to get out of bed, you don't want to do the exercise. There's just so many aspects of the cycle of emotional eating and drinking as well. So finding the pain or challenge for you. So it can be clean eating. It can be, planning your meals so you can clean eat. Portion control. So not just eating everything on your plate, because so many of us were raised to eat everything on your plate. Imagine breaking that habit and just eating till you feel satisfied. That could be such a challenge for so many of us because we've always been told to clear everything on our plate. Dealing with your emotions. That's a huge one for women as well, I think, because sometimes you just think, I don't have time. I don't want to deal with this. How many of us said that? I don't want to deal with this. So dealing with your emotions is really important as well, to be able to step away from that internal pain. Because if you don't deal with your emotions, they're always going to be there. And regular exercise, I feel, for me, like I'm the opposite to Jana. Like I love exercising. I would exercise all day if I could. So, but that's actually my way of dealing with emotions. So if I'm feeling frustrated or or angry or anything, if I exercise, it's actually like meditating for me. So, focus and take attention of what you're thinking and feeling. And then you get to have that high energy. You have your adrenals firing, that you're just feeling so good from the inside out because you have that internal pleasure. You're slim and fit because you're fueling your body and it's exactly where it needs to be. And a big thing that I really like to say to women about being slim and fit, you're slim and fit for your body, not comparing yourself to others. You feel good in your body and you heal easily. So when you're doing a lot of the the package that you guys are actually talking about is perfect. Like you're healing your body from the inside out. So you're healing easily because your body is at the optimal health on the inside. That positive self-talk. So when you look in the mirror, you're not like, oh, look at those bags under my eyes. You look in the mirror and go, oh, I really love my eyebrows. So you're shifting that language at that point. And then also you're inspiring to others because you have that positive self-talk and you're respecting yourself. So you're inspiring others around you and you're creating a better environment for yourself just by stopping this emotional eating and this emotional negativeness towards yourself. Is that all making sense, ladies? Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So what do we need to be able to do this? Willpower. So what does willpower look like? Well, I just spoke a lot about what willpower looks like, and it's just that tiny step of shifting at the point of habit. So I'm going to go back to the lady that spoke about sitting on the couch in the evening and she's bored. So your willpower is to shift what you choose to do at that point. So what are you choosing to do? You're choosing to open the pantry and just take whatever you want because you're bored. What if you went out for a 5-minute walk because you have 5 minutes to scavenge through the pantry? Why don't you go for a 5-minute walk? Or you could shift at that point with your willpower and choose to make like a herbal tea. Go read a book, something that you really love for you, instead of feeding yourself food that's eventually going to make you feel not great about yourself. Mm-hmm. So shifting at that point. Does anybody have any questions about how they could shift at that point? What if something else comes up? It's just creating that habit.
It's really interesting. I recently have been listening to like a series about Stoicism, like traditional Stoicism. Yeah. Well, this really overlaps with a lot of Stoic themes, and I knew a little bit about Stoic philosophy, but not the depth that I've been learning. And a really big part of it is choosing to do things that come with some level of discomfort, purely because it makes us a better human, and then we're more resilient to things later. And this is like very much on that theme of doing something that is a little bit uncomfortable, or that's a change of habit, like making yourself exercise or allowing yourself to just be still and completely present, or eating clean because you know that it's going to have some sort of a benefit. And sometimes that benefit comes like basically straight away, and sometimes a whole part of it is waiting for that benefit to come. But either way, that's the point, and it does come. Like one does lead to the other.
Yeah, so perfect, Chelsea. And it's exactly right. Like sometimes it will come straight away, so you do get that instant gratification. Other times you're going to have to wait, but just know and have that belief in yourself that you are making these choices and you're changing the habits. So it will come, because that's creating that manifestation and creating the space in the reality that you want to live in. And you have that choice to create whatever reality you want to live in. So choosing those little steps though. So it's so important to create little steps because they're achievable. And then when you do that one little step, so say, for example, going to the pantry, I'm not going to go to the pantry, I'm going to make a herbal tea. That's one little step, but it's going to make such a ripple effect in the habits that you're creating. So it makes it really exciting. So you'll see that one shift because you're like, oh, I'm having herbal tea. Oh, hang on, I'm not actually even getting bored anymore because I'm doing something different. So there's, that really big ripple effect as well. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Chelsea. Amazing.
Can I add something? And I've been a victim of it. So even when I found myself, for example, in this particular situation, and I'll try to distract and do something like go and do herbal tea, I found myself I can actually do so many good things, so many distractions, and then in the last minute I'll snap and I'll still go to the fridge and I'll open the fridge and I'll do whatever, like Natasha, I just saw it was Natasha who mentioned, it's like my time and I deserve, and I'll go and binge and or emotionally eat. So where is that fine line where do you need to stop even with the distractions and the bringing those good habits? And I've seen it in my daughter, I've seen it amongst my friends, amongst my clients who are trying so hard, and it's just that little end of the journey will just break and it will pretty much ruin the whole thing. So all the good things will be undone within 30 seconds at the very end. So what do we do there?
So that's on my next slide. Why is this important? So it's creating clearing of these negative habits that are in your mind. So when you're doing that last little bit, it means that there's something that's within you that you haven't cleared. And so there's the lizard brain, or other people can call it your ego, or your unconscious mind is controlling you right then. So one of the studies is that we actually walk around at 95% of our time unconsciously. We don't even know that we're actually doing what we're doing because it's all in our unconscious mind. By the time we're 35, that's like we're not doing it. We're 95% unconsciously just doing things. So like Jana just said, like she does have the herbal tea and she does do all the things that are really great for her, but there's something in the back of her mind just saying, no, just go open the fridge and have it. And that is so much more controlling than the habits that you're creating. So that's why it's really important to think about, okay, well, I've started doing this and it's okay that I've opened that fridge, but I'm not going to do it tomorrow. And then maybe you mightn't do it for 2 days. And then maybe you mightn't do it for 3 days. There's also ways that, so when we are aware of something, it no longer has this power over us. So knowing that you have this habit of going to the cupboard or the fridge, you can make the choice, again, to not let it have the power of you. To know that you can make the choice to do something that's going to make you feel really good. So for me, I think one of the biggest things for me with sitting still is that it's really challenging for me. And I often will get up and answer an email, or I'll go and like fold some washing, or I don't know, something like I'll think of something to do because it's really, really challenging for me to just be. But at the same time, I'm getting better at it. So I can sit for a lot longer now than when I first started thinking about this, is because I know that when I do sit, I actually create more time. And that's because I've allowed myself to be conscious of what happens. And then I'm no longer having this busyness have the power over me. Does that answer your question a little bit, Jana? I will further as we keep on going as well.
Yes, and it's just, again, it's so beautiful to observe how different we all are. It's just incredible. And as I said, I know you, Dani, from a personal side, and we connect on so many levels, and yet we're so different. Like for me to sit still and work, oh my God, give me this any time of the day. I would love it. And for me to actually go and fold the washing and do something, it's like it's so annoying. It's like it's taking me away from sitting down and doing what I want to do. How different are we, hey?
Yeah, it's so true. And people watching is one of my favorite things, because people's minds fascinate me. And the way that our minds work without us even realizing is just so interesting. And this is why when you're on this process of letting go of emotional eating, or letting go of emotional drinking, or letting go of negative thoughts, or the way that you speak to yourself, be really observant and find joy in watching what your mind does, because there's nothing wrong in what's happening right now. You're just trying to shift and change that into a better way that serves you. So it's just find joy in recognizing the way that your mind works as well. And this is the beautiful quote by Carl Jung. This is my favorite quote. Until you make your unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you'll continue to call it fate. So how many times in your life have you said, oh, that just always happens to me, so, I can't change that? There's no such thing of not being able to change what's happening. You can choose for it not to change, and that's absolutely right, but it's you that has the choice to change it.
It's the story. It's the story in our head that we keep telling ourselves, this is how I am, and I'm a big believer. You can literally snap out of it within 30 seconds. You just have to make a choice. And I spoke to Lisa Lachlan-Bell last week, and we spoke exactly about the same thing. It's the story that we're nurturing within ourselves because we're so used to keep hearing all same shit again that we keep repeating to ourselves, to make excuses, to procrastinate, to not go for what we really want to achieve or do or change. It takes bloody hard work to make any sort of changes, and the hardest change is to work on ourselves. So stories, let's change our stories.
Absolutely. Change our stories in the lens that you look at the world through. So you've got all these stories and these beliefs and these values that you've gotten from when you're when you're in your mother's womb. They're all in there, and that's the lens that you're seeing your world through. So today, all I'm really asking is for you to start opening that up a little bit. So start thinking about, what's that habit that creates that space where I start doing the emotional eating or drinking, or even start the negative thoughts. So what's that space that creates that for me? And what is the little shift I'm going to make after watching this masterclass that I can do to start making better choices for myself? So what am I going to make conscious? What part of me am I going to make conscious?
Can you guys, whoever's watching, can you please put in comments the first thought that comes to your mind and what you'd like to change? It doesn't have to be many tasks, many things, many steps. Just create a new habit of.
While you guys are writing that in there, because I really would love to see that, because I am going to ask you to step into a little bit of a process today to really acknowledge your thoughts. And it's a process I love to do in a group because it's really easy for you to be in your space and I don't need to speak to you specifically. So also a big thing, and this is what I wanted to speak to Jana about today, is that when you were just speaking about what's the action steps to take when you keep going back to the fridge, it's clearing your past. So you can do this yourself, and we will become a little bit aware of what that is today. But also, like, clearing your past, you can work with a coach, or you can start thinking about what are some of the points in my past where I can see I started to emotionally eat, or I can see that I started drinking more than I should. And I can see that those negative thoughts really started eating me up inside and created me. So it can be a domino effect, can't it? Created me emotionally eating or drinking or just not getting out of bed, or, all different things, that it's just a spiral effect. So what are little points in your past that have created this for you too? And becoming aware of that also helps you start shifting it. So even if you want to put in the comments as well there, so what is that that's been in your past that started triggering some of this emotional eating for you? So
for me, I think as well, sorry if it's noisy, but I'm just observing. I think not being heard or not being understood by someone else, that sends massive triggers. It's like, I'm not heard, you're not listening, you're not seeing me, you're not involved. That's where my binge eating starts.
Yeah, I agree. And that's a big thing for me, is not being heard, and not being seen is a big one as well. Like, you feel like you're not being seen, you're not being heard. So, you start, mine is negative thoughts comes in. So I start speaking pretty horribly to myself when I feel like, people aren't hearing me or people aren't seeing me for what I'm actually about. So that's a big thing that comes into me. And then the negative thoughts, the emotional negative thoughts, is something that, I really then have to bring my conscious to the forefront. So when you experience your body as an instrument of pleasure, you can take charge of your emotional state and make proactive choices. So this is one really simple action step that you can take when you start feeling this shift, this habits starting. Okay, so you're starting to start this habit. I'm going to start thinking negative thoughts, speaking horrible to myself. I'm going to start just shoving my face with whatever I can just to fill that space of lack. I'm going to start drinking all the drinks because then I don't even have to think about this space of lack. Take 3 deep breaths. So really thinking about when you take these 3 deep breaths, you're going to breathe deeply in through your nose, like just bring it all the way to the pit of your stomach. So take the time. So, and then you're going to breathe it out just as slowly. And then take 2 more breaths just as long. And we're going to be doing this breathing to bring you into your process soon. And so when you take these deep breaths, you actually have to stop. You have to stop in that moment and shift at that habit, because all you're focusing on is your breath. And literally it's just, even if you need to say to yourself, breathing in through your nose, into the pit of your belly, fill up your lungs, and then you just slowly breathe it all back out as well.
Again, how often, Danny, do we tell our kids when they're in distress or when they
Yes.
out of control, stop, sit down, take a deep breath in, and we actually hold the space for them and we let them breathe. We actually breathe with them. I do that with my
I do
daughter.
that.
And how little we do for ourselves when we know when we're in distress. We know when we're just about to snap, and we just don't take the time. We don't hold the space for ourselves. Not just to take 3 easy breaths, yeah, to unwind ourselves, to stop. We're not doing it. So maybe the first thing is, like you say, the conscious motion, the conscious step would be take those breaths.
Yeah, exactly.
Help us through. And you know what? I'm saying it out loud, but actually I'm saying it to myself.
Yeah.
My head. That's what I need to do.
Yes, absolutely. And taking those breaths, because then when you start making that unconscious part of you conscious, then you start realizing that you probably weren't even breathing. You're probably holding your breath, or you're like short breaths or something like that. So you would not be doing that big, deep breath, feeling that pleasure of your body just relaxing into that breath. And it's literally 5 seconds to take 3 deep breaths like that. So it's we all have 5 seconds in our day to just calm ourselves down. And then also thinking about the groundedness to the earth. So just when you feel your feet connected to the earth as you breathe, then that brings that connection down even better for you. So then you really slow down even more. And this is exactly what I do when I bring myself down. I've just got a few things coming through now in the comments, so I might just check that before we move on. So betrayed, loss of self-worth. Yeah. I think believing I do deserve time for myself to start moving positive changes in my actions and thoughts. Give myself positive affirmations instead of negative self-talk all the time. Yeah, and really choosing affirmations that are for you as well. So you can Google if you need to. So say if, for example, how Sherry said, betrayed and loss of self-worth. I know it's 2 different people speaking here, but then if you create an affirmation for that, Louise Hay has incredible affirmations. She's an incredible mindset lady. So if you wanted to check her out, she would really support you in finding affirmations. So you could just put Louise Hay affirmations, and then you could say for betrayal or lack of self-worth. And then that's going to bring an affirmation that you can actually repeat to yourself every day. So to make it more powerful is to look yourself in the mirror and actually say it. So even for lack of self-worth, the impact of looking yourself in the mirror and saying, I am worthy. And it might make you cry because it's really difficult to hear to start with. But imagine if you just said that again the next day, I am worthy. And just creating that beautiful ritual for yourself. And then you're having that self-worth. And then you know that you can move away from this destructive behavior of either emotional eating, emotional drinking, negative self-talk. So really creating that beautiful space internally. So that internal pressure. Awesome. Oh, thank you for sharing, Chelsea. Awesome. Okay, so now looking at taking aligned action. So we've actually just spoken about this a lot, taking the aligned action. So having those self-affirmations, taking that time to take the breath, taking the time to be consciously aware of what that habit is. So looking into your past. So when you're breathing through here, looking into your past and thinking, okay, well, that actually started back when I was 5. That was actually nothing. And often when you're clearing the past, it's not necessarily always a trauma either. It's just something that someone might have said to you, and you've created, like Jana said, a story around it. And that's the lens that you're seeing the world through at the moment. So then when you make that conscious, you can clear that, breathe through it, and then decide to take aligned action. How does that sound, ladies? Does that sound like something we can do all together now? Because I'd like to meditate about it. So what I would love to do today is actually taking notice of our minds. And this is called a perceptual position process. What I will do is I'll bring you down to a beautiful meditative space. And then when we move around different spots, so I will ask you to either lean to your left, or if you're able to stand up and stand on your left, and then move to your right. And then I'm going to invite you to step back and look at these two parts of you as if you don't even know who she is, and then get the information that's going to allow you to make that aligned action. Okay, so thinking about the first space is going to be all about who you are now and what is bringing you to that place of emotional eating, emotional drinking, negative self-talk, whatever it is for you. And then we're going to move to the woman that's making the choices and taking the breaths and finding what the focus is to change those habits. And then we're going to lean back and take some information in and really work out what it is that we're going to do to take aligned action to step away from this. So I'd love to invite everybody now to just completely close your eyes down and relax wherever you are. So if you're lying down in bed, just lie down. Sitting in a chair, just completely relaxing down. Closing your eyes. Breathing deeply in through your nose. And out through your mouth. In through your nose. And out through your mouth. And as you continue to take these beautiful, deep, long breaths, I invite you now to take your focus down to the soles of your feet. Just feeling the soles of your feet, or just imagining the soles of your feet connected to the earth. Just like the roots of a tree, growing deeper and more connected. And you know now you can soak up the nutrients and resources that you need today. That's right. You are grounded. And you know now you can let go of any thoughts, feelings, or emotions that you need to let go of. Just like a sponge being wrung out. You can see it all just draining away. Draining away. You are connected. You are peaceful. You are ready now. Now, gorgeous ladies, I'd like to invite you to just step over to your left now. And just imagine who you are now when you're just about to step into that emotional state. What is she feeling? What is she hearing? What is she seeing? Take notice of the emotions she's feeling here and what she's doing. Knowing that what she could be hearing could be what she's saying to herself or what others could be saying to her. What action is she taking here? Just really taking that in. That's right. That's right. Now just taking a really deep breath. And breathe this beautiful lady out as we lean over to our right. And this time we're stepping in to our empowered, confident self with internal pleasure. She has internal pleasure because she's made the choice to have some external pain. She's made her conscious, unconscious. She's shifted at the habit. What is she seeing? What is she feeling? What is she hearing? And again, what is she saying to herself and to others? Maybe about herself now. That's right. Just noticing what actions she's taking in this space of awareness. Beautiful. That's it. Now just taking a deep breath here. And breathing this beautiful woman out as we lean back. Just looking back, so lean back in your chair if you can, or lean a little bit further back, wherever you are, just so you can observe these two women in front of you. They're right in front of you here. But like you don't even know them. You're a stranger to these women. You're just observing them. Observing what would be useful for you to know looking at these two women. What would guide you by looking at these two women? What knowledge and understanding would allow you to have the knowledge of the aligned action you can take today? Just knowing and observing, just remembering you're completely disconnected from them. That's right. That's right. Just soaking up that knowledge, soaking up whatever emotions are going to guide you to aligned action here. Taking a deep breath, and this time I want you to move back to where we began, over on the left. But this time, with all of the knowledge and all of the understanding of all the positions we've just been in. And noticing, what is the aligned action that she's ready to take now? What is she seeing and hearing and feeling? What is useful for you to take forward now? That's it. Just allowing your unconscious mind to bring you that knowledge now. Okay, so let's take just 2 beautiful big deep breaths again before we come back to now. So breathing deeply in through your nose and out through your mouth. And again. And out. Beautiful. When you're ready, open your eyes, coming back to now. And just when you are ready to open your eyes, if you do have a pen close by, I'd love for you just to write down 3 incredible knowledge that's to come through for your aligned action. Or even share in the chat. I'd love to hear in the chat, what's the aligned action that's come through from your unconscious mind to step away from emotional eating or drinking or the negative self-talk has been stopping you from creating this beautiful confidence within you. Just give you a couple of moments. Step to the left, that's right. Maybe we should just call that the Danni V quote. Just keep writing down.
You probably don't see Danni, but it's Natasha.
Yes, she quoted me on Instagram once, so I knew it was her.
Started the program not long ago with us. Yeah, she's
amazing. It's good. I feel incredible, like the energy that I have. And I've been meaning to message you actually, Jana, because my lifting at the gym is phenomenal since I've been on the program.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
I think you need to chat to Chelsea about stepping into active portions as well. So
Yeah.
this is you need to chat to Chelsea about. Yeah, you're lifting, you're doing a lot of exercise, and I don't know why and how it completely escaped my mind when we were chatting about you doing it. So I don't know
Yeah, for
how.
sure, if you're lifting.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Chelsea, I'll speak to you later.
Yeah.
Thank you. Awesome. Okay, so ladies, today I've shown you the reason why you keep returning to the same old habits. And it's not your fault, right? It's your unconscious mind. However, you do have the choice to change it. You do have the choice to shift and change what's going to happen now, like right now, and in your future. The one simple step you can take today to start making changes now. So hopefully people remember that we're going to breathe 3 long, deep breaths when we feel like that change is going to be really difficult. So we're going to take that time just to stop and take 3 long, deep breaths. And how to start loving the body you are in now. So that is taking that aligned action. Honestly, ladies, if you start making aligned action for yourself and choosing something for yourself, that self-confidence and that self-love will grow because you're going to have that beautiful self-respect for doing something for you. So just continue on that journey. And being here in this group, you've already taken that aligned action. Okay, so just really amplifying that along the way. And then also, so if you are interested in learning a little bit about the mindset side of things, I am offering everybody today a Confidence Awakening call, which is just a 30-minute call with me where we'll actually walk away with 2 steps on your aligned action. So whatever you have come up in the process, or if you haven't really, if you found it really difficult, because at times when this is new to you, it's not easy to step into. So if you want to have a little bit more support on that aligned action, I'm happy to offer that to everybody here in this group for it's for free. It's on me. So or you can also just follow me on any of those social media and just send me a DM. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much, everybody.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Dani.
Thank you.
I think that meditation really put me into something else. I need to sit with it and
I love
figure
it.
it out. Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. And actually, I've been meditating today quite a lot. For probably most of the day, I've been in a meditative state and I've been writing a few things. And so I've been quite busy. And that's probably the best to finish off the day with that
Oh,
meditation as well.
beautiful.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved it.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you
So,
so much.
ladies, if you're gonna be watching it a replay, obviously have a look. Reach out to Danny. Danny is also doing our program, so she's quite aware of the process and the difficulties in the first couple of weeks, and all the emotional breakthroughs that you go through in that first week,
Very
and
much.
the downfalls and upfalls, the yo-yo kind of journey that could be on detox as well. But also she's in a group, so do reach out to her. We're here. Reach out to any of us, because as I said, this journey could be quite lonely when you're doing it alone. We are in a space of weight loss, we are in a space of transformation, we are in a space of stepping up to that next level and really making our life, a daily life, more exciting for us. Because you know what I always say, life is so short. And to wait until January comes 2023, when you decide to start something new, you still have 10 weeks before Christmas to literally change your body and your mindset, and it all starts
Absolutely.
here. So Danny is really great with your mindset, with the habits and the breaking and creating new. Chelsea is here on the side of nutrition. Me, I'll just glue it all together and roll it out to you ladies in the bow. In the boat, but don't feel like you are alone. So do come back to us. We're here, and I have to leave now because my little girl is literally calling me now, Alaska G, and she wants my cuddle, I think. And it's yes. So I thank you for your time, Danny.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks.
you. Thanks,
Yeah,
ladies.
Charles. So maybe you guys can catch up later. I don't know, tomorrow or Friday, whenever, for that active portion sizes. And we're here. We're halfway through the phase 2, so stick to it. And next week when I'm back, I'm gonna run a couple more lives that we've spoken about or that we haven't spoken about tonight. I'd love to share some new things with you. And it's, you know what, it's all interconnected no matter how I look at it. For example, with Delicious Dreams in your brand, it's got nothing to do with supplements and proteins, but it's got everything to do with your mindset. So let's just dig deeper and help each other. Well, ladies, you have a good night. I'm off to bed, and I'll see you online tomorrow. I'll speak to you tomorrow, Chelsea, or Friday.
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks,
Good
ladies.
night.
Bye.
Love
See
you.
you.
Bye.